The passage I've selected is from Macbeth, Act 5, Scene 5, lines 16 through 28. The passage opens with Satan briefly informing Macbeth that Lady Macbeth has taken her own life. The rest of the passage consists of Macbeth's response to this news, and that's what I'll focus on here. At this point in the play, near the end of the play, Macbeth's plans have clearly come undone. He has killed or had others kill King Duncan and Banquo, Macduff's wife and his children, and others. His treachery has become apparent, and he is all but defeated. Lady Macbeth, once his partner in greatness, has gone from a vicious ally to a faint whisper of her former self, crazy with remorse but unable to cleanse herself from her deeds. Suicide seems almost natural, or at least inevitable, for her character. The passage opens with Macbeth lamenting the timing of Lady Macbeth's death. He wishes she would have died when there might have been more time for him to deal with her death. This leads him to contemplate time itself and how it moves at its own pace, relentlessly forward, and how our best plans seem to end in nothing more than death. We may have plans, he suggests, but ultimately we're just playing a part, posturing and psyching ourselves up for something that is ultimately meaningless in the end. Macbeth is weary from fighting and, it seems, weary of life itself. The passage opens with the news from Satan of Lady Macbeth's death. Macbeth begins in line 17 with a significant pause to digest this news. I decided Macbeth would probably look directly at Satan, a classic denial response, hoping for some indication that the news isn't true. I decided that the camera would represent Satan, so Macbeth looks directly at the camera whenever he would look at Satan. There's a pause after the word hereafter, as if Macbeth is searching for some sort of reason why Lady Macbeth should have waited to die. It's as if he's bargaining for some sort of extension of her life, and his voice rises in line 18 with a sort of plaintive tone when he stresses the word time, which is what he wants more of with her. There's a brief pause at the end of line 18 as he sort of answers his own request. There would have been more time for her to die tomorrow, he suggests at the beginning of line 19. And he pauses, beginning to realize that tomorrow or the next day or the next wouldn't really matter because time moves at its own pace without any concern for our plans. In line 20, the word petty is stressed and is said with a fair amount of bitterness to emphasize the realization Macbeth has just arrived at. This realization leads him to emphasize the word all in line 22, because Macbeth is starting to fully realize that every single one of his plans has been for naught. The futility of everything he has done to become king is evident, and he feels like a fool, which is why he emphasizes that word and says it so bitterly at the end of line 22. He pauses after the word death in line 23, grappling with what he has come to realize and thinking about the death of his wife. The candles catch his eye, and they become for him a metaphor for life itself and how easily it is snuffed out. He blows out one of the candles somewhat disdainfully and throws up his hands in resignation, as if to say that everything can come so easily to an end. The flickering candles remind Macbeth, or Shakespeare perhaps, of footlights on a stage, and so in line 24, Macbeth compares life and those of us who live it to bad actors. These poor players strut and fret on the stage, words Macbeth emphasizes and says angrily because he has begun to realize that he has done little more than posture and fret over his own plans. His voice drops almost to a whisper at the beginning of line 26 to illustrate the powerlessness he feels now that life has moved on and his plans have failed. He concludes that life is just a tale, a story that an idiot tells. He bitterly emphasizes the word idiot because that is what he feels like for believing so fully in his own story. After a pause during which he fully realizes how futile everything has become, he goes on to emphasize the words sound and fury, because in the end, this is all his life has consisted of. There is a final pause before he ends with signifying nothing, fully realizing that everything he has planned for and done has come to nothing. The story he has told himself, in the end, is meaningless. He once again looks head-on into the camera, or at Satan, looking again to someone for some sense of hope, while realizing that he won't really find any. She should have died hereafter. There would have been a time for such a word. Tomorrow. Tomorrow creeps in its petty pace from day to day, to the last syllable of recorded time. And all our yesterdays have lighted fools the way to dusty death. Out. Out, brief candle. Life's but a walking shadow. A poor player. It struts and frets its way upon a stage, and then is heard no more. It's a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing.